Hello and welcome. Happy Thor's Day. More of that later. Welcome to Viking.TV and another special meeting with me, Anne Diamond, and another fascinating guest and friend of Viking. I hope you're keeping well. For the latest gossip and news from England, well, tomorrow we are being required to wear face masks when we're shopping, and desperately hoping that the scientists at Oxford University are ever so near finding the vaccine, though I know many researchers at universities right throughout the world are also looking extremely hopeful. Yesterday, I had to briefly visit Heathrow Airport, and I was amazed and shocked by how desperately bare and lonely it was, with just the occasional human, again in a face mask. It does make you wonder, doesn't it, how long it will be before the world of travel resumes. So, for the moment, let's reflect upon the beauty in the world and look at the world of travel and history. Well, let's think instead then of this beautiful and awe-inspiring landscape, because this is a world to which you can travel and hopefully will do soon. Home of the amazing Northern Lights. Look at it. The incredible scenery of Norway, which is where Vikings celebrated the christening of a new, well, it was new then, ocean-going luxury cruise ship, the Viking Sky, back in 2017. But whilst we are hopefully on board, enjoying the onboard luxury of a modern cruise, do you know, I bet we never pause to think of the seafaring history that just being there, we are continuing. So please meet a man who has become a firm friend of Viking, the cruise line, and who has turned up to many pivotal moments in Viking's life, along with his long plaited beard and trusty Viking axe. Please meet and welcome Geir Røvik. I hope I've got your name right. Hello, Geir.
Hello, and
it's lovely to see you, and don't you look magnificent? So, where are you, and can you talk us through what you're wearing and the significance even of the plaited hair and the plaited beard?
Yes, you see, I'm now in the local museum who called the Slottsfjells Museum, and here with me you can see in my background there is a copy, a model of the Oseberg ship. It's also a picture of the mound where the ship was found on the wall. So Tønsberg is the oldest existed town in Tønsberg, where kings live, where laws will have been made, and also many important decisions when the church and the king split their power.
Now, how old is that? How far back is that?
It's from before 871. Snorre described it in the saga as before the Battle of Hafrsfjord, and the Battle of Hafrsfjord was about 871.
A very long time ago.
Yes.
So talk us through why you are wearing what you are wearing. And again, as I said, the plaited hair, the plaited beard, these all signify something, don't they, in Viking
Yes.
law?
Yes, you can see, also, to have hair. You see?
That is a good head of hair.
To have hair and beard was a sign of that he was a man in the Viking Age. And as I used to say, also the first reason for to have long hair is to have hair. So I was lucky.
Yes,
as a Viking.
Good head of hair.
Yeah. So, but the beard is okay to have it like this, and it's the same style as Svein, the fork beard, who was on the throne in England just for 5 weeks.
Is that right?
So it's the same style.
Yeah. So, I mean, Vikings presumably had different fashions. Some would have a plaited beard down the front, others a forked beard, as you said. Everything was, well, I guess, fashion.
Yes. Also, the Vikings, they was really upset to dress them well. They're like...
Now, anyone who's ever been to a Viking cruise naming ceremony, a christening ceremony, has probably seen you, and you are always there in your finery, but with your axe. Do you have your axe with you?
Yes, I have the axe with me here. And this here, as you see, this is a really big axe. And you see on how slim this edge is. And
very thin.
The weight of this axe head is just 1 pound. So it was for to really cruelly execute the enemy on the battlefields.
Yes. But it wasn't just a weapon, was it? I gather that an axe was also the way Vikings cut wood. They didn't use a saw, they used their axe. The axe was for everything.
Yes, it was different types of axe. So this here was only for warriors, for to protect yourself and go to the battlefields. But since they have no saw, they use axes for to chop down timber. They prepare the surfaces. So they make nearly everything they need: houses, ships, furniture, all you need in the
everything.
Everything,
yes.
And especially also firewood, who was very important to have in the Nordic climate.
So to a Viking, it was the ultimate weapon and the ultimate tool.
Yes, it was.
Before we go any further, I have to ask you here, how long did it take you to grow that head of hair?
I have never counted, but I start because when I was young, I have long hair, as all in my age, like Beatles, you know. But I started when I was 44 years ago. But my hair grow really fast. So yes, so I think it's grow 20 centimeters per year, more than this 1 centimeter.
My goodness.
So, but I didn't count time, but it's come fast.
So many men would be so envious of that. What do you eat to make your hair grow that fast?
Yes, I eat really healthy.
I bet you do. A true Viking.
I never drink coffee, no smoking, very little alcohol, and I eat carrot, apples, and very much fish.
Well, maybe that is the secret. We should all learn from you.
Maybe.
Now, look, before we talk about the original Vikings, which I know you are so interested in, and you are so knowledgeable about, let's talk about the incredibly meaningful role that you and your axe have played in the christening of several Viking cruise ships. Here, for instance, you are popping up in full costume and with the axe at the ceremony for Viking Sky. Let's just sit back and watch this.
Finally, the moment had arrived for this newest member of the Viking small ship fleet.
The axe was a symbol for power and success in the Viking Age. And I hope that Viking cruises will have the same success today and for the future.
I mean, how amazing. What a turnout. That was in Norway. Is that the first time you've ever christened a modern ocean ship?
I was first ship I christening was the Viking Sea at the Thames in London. So and after that it was Viking Sky in Tromsø. So it was Viking Orion in Shanghai, I think, and so it was Viking Jupiter in LA now in January.
And they are all amazing ceremonies, isn't it? It must be very meaningful, very emotional to be part of that. Did original Vikings christen their ships?
I tried to research this, but the ships have name in the Viking Age. So so I'm sure they, in a way, baptize them as they do with the other people they give name. But I haven't found the written in the saga. But since they have name, they have been given a name.
Yes, and I can imagine nowadays in a modern christening, we often say, God bless, or God bless this ship and all who sail in her. And one can only imagine that the original Vikings must have felt emotionally connected with their ships in the same way.
I think so. Of course, I'm sure they will say that the ships must be lucky and the gods must follow them.
Yeah.
And of course, especially, for example, Njord, one of the gods for the sea. And of course, the main god Odin also.
Yes.
So, I'm sure they have some ceremony for this.
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk about what they did in a few moments. I just want to treat everybody to another amazing ceremony. This was you at the very latest christening, which was Viking Jupiter, as you mentioned, which actually happened in Los Angeles. Have a little look at the christening ceremony because it was quite unusual. But there you were with your trusty axe at the christening ceremony for the Viking Jupiter in Los Angeles just back in January.
Captain Eric, are you on the air?
Good afternoon, Captain Atle. We are so excited about this moment.
And I guess the weather is as we can expect down there?
We have typical Viking weather today down here in the South Atlantic Ocean.
Well, you know, we are going to give our ship the official name Viking Jupiter, and we are using a bottle of aquavit, so make sure after we have crushed the bottle that you clean up the aquavit because it's quite harsh on the paintwork.
Captain, don't worry at all. I will take care of that.
That's good, I know that.
The time had come for the ceremonial axe.
Here with me, I have axe, typical battle axe from the Viking Age, who also is a copy of a discovery in the old Oslo. The axe is also a part of the Norwegian coat of arms, together with the lion. The axe was a symbol for power and success in the Viking Age. I hope the same success will follow the Viking cruises for all future. Hereby, I will give the battle axe to the godmother, Sissel.
The Captain Eric, stand by.
I name you Viking Jupiter. May God bless you and all who sail on you.
Now, you see, that was a wonderful moment. And a couple of weeks ago, Geir, I interviewed Sissel. And I said, did you have to practice? Because that axe looks heavy. But as you were saying, it is so thin and it is so beautifully cast that it isn't very heavy at all.
No, so she easily do this job with a little training. But Sissel is really tough. She and she's of course she's one of our national heroes.
Yeah, she really is one. And you too. You are probably the world's best known. Now I have been told to ask you this. Why, at certain ceremonies, do you pick up Carina Hagen, Viking's Carina Hagen, and you sort of lift her over your shoulders and you make off with her? Apparently, this has become quite a tradition. What's going on?
You see, it starts in this history when the first time I met them in Borre, and Ekaterina and Karine was very upset to know how they handle women in the Viking Age. And I take a little chance. I think, okay, are you sure you want to have this experience? and
That's what Vikings did.
So we have. So she asked for this at the Thames. It was Viking Sea. At the Thames, we do this again. So it's fun. But it's also for me. Then it's give a little sign. Here is a strong man. So it's we are really simple women, you know.
Yes. Well, tell us then about Viking history, because I know this is your specialism. This is your interest. The Vikings, the original Vikings, when was their prime time and for how long did they rule the seas almost?
Yes, you can see they say that the Viking Age start with the attack at the monastery in Lindisfarne in year 793. Mm-hmm. But before that, it was a lot of attacks where they go east, so it must maybe be the Swedish Viking who go first east and rob in the Baltic states. And also they say also that the Vikings make the society in Russian and make order and law and system. But the Vikings, they ruled to 1066, and the end was the Battle of Hastings.
Oh, really?
Yes, but a very funny story about this with it was not funny to make a battle, but for us Norwegian, it was Wilhelm the Conqueror who conquer England in 1066. Mm-hmm. But he was also his grandfather or something was Rollo, also the Gangerolf. And he come from Norway, so they are directly connected.
Yes, so they've had a long and very effective history. Now, tell me, the Vikings themselves, are they simply ancient Norwegians, or were they a particular tribe or sect? And what were they like?
Yes, you see, I think as the Vikings was all who live in Scandinavian. So it was especially the Danish people and of course Swedish and Norwegian people who was the Vikings.
Yeah.
So I'm sure. So I think they are equal in a way, but the Danish was make more. They sit on the throne in England for a longer time than the Norwegian.
Yes, well, history has always said that the Vikings were, they had a very bad reputation. They were raiders, they were pillagers. What effect and impact did they really have on history?
Yes, of course, I think it's the same as today. In law and war, everything is legal. And it was the same in the Viking Age. So also inside your own country, your own society, there was rules, there was law, and if you steal or murder people, you get really hard punishment.
Yes.
But when you go abroad or to even your neighbor and rob him to the next county, there was no punishment. Of course, they could take revenge and pay back. But so it was, see, double roles they have. They have really good laws from the Gulating's law, and they have also this thing. So it was a sort of democratic system. And but when they go to war, they was brutal.
Yes, ruthless.
Really ruthless. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it depends on what perspective you're speaking from, whether you call them pirates or adventurers. But they certainly were very, very brave, and they had quite an emancipated attitude towards women. Women were almost equal, weren't they?
Yes, they have absolutely rights in the Viking Age. Also, in the family, the man was the main head. He decided a lot of things. But, for example, if a woman should be married, they don't marry because of law. It was a sort of business agreement with two families. There was it could give you support. You could be some alliance, so you can beat other enemies. So, and women often be called peace weavers. So they make peace between fighting peoples. And but they have rights to heritage, their father, but just half of the brothers. So when she married, you take with your heritage into your marriage. But you must pay well for the bride this time. And the woman and the bride should also have a really good mourning gift. So they became married, and they think, okay, you should go wider, get children. But if the marriage was not happy, and especially if your husband beat the woman 3 times in public, the woman could call to people and say, I will be divorced. First they say it on the outside door, and so they say it beside the bed. And if she do it with the rights, she bring out her mourning gift, her heritage from father, and her father behold this the money he have get for the marriage.
My goodness. So a woman had a right to divorce somebody if she was unhappy or it wasn't working out, and she also had the right to inherit, which a lot of other societies just didn't do.
Yes, and also if the husband become murdered, as the wife was also to decide what the punishment should be, and she could also go to the king if she was if the man had died or been murdered. She could also go to the king. So it was rights for women at that time.
So, Geir, why do you think the Vikings have always had such a bad press? I mean, they've always been painted so badly by history. Why?
I think it's a sort of they maybe want to give the Vikings, but especially this about the women, they handled them better than later in this history, especially in the Middle Age. And when we became christening, they have not so good rights anymore. So
the Vikings. Sorry, did you say the Vikings became Christian?
Yes, the Viking became Christian. Yes.
Did they? Oh my goodness! And another question, which I know a lot of people will probably get in touch with and want to ask, is Wagner in the Rings. Portrayed them as wearing helmets with great big horns at the top. Did Vikings ever wear those horned helmets?
No, they say no horn on helmet. But in the Oseberg found, there is some textiles where there is a ceremony where they have a sort of horn. But it's but you can see also on the carving on the Oseberg ship, there is a sort of something who go out from the head, who is maybe is look more like some sort of antennas, some horn, but they say that's a sign that you have contacts with the gods. You understand? So it was not for to go to war, because if you go to war with this horn, it will be it's not useful. It will just destroy for you. You can.
And did they have a written language? I mean, I know that there were many Viking stories and that there are sagas that are told. Were they just passed down verbally, or were they actually written down somewhere? Do we know?
Yes, also in the beginning they write in stones, and they use these runes.
Runes, yes.
And
they've left all over the world as well. They've been left everywhere, haven't they?
Yes, but in the Viking Age they also they write on skin, on really thin skin, and but the oldest saga who have been found in Iceland.
Well, just as an example then.
In Denmark and many other places, they have described the Vikings, especially when the Viking visit them or when they attack them. So,
well, let's show everybody now just how intrepid the Vikings were, because we've got another lovely video clip where Vikings Karina Hagen takes up their story and shows us just how far and wide they travelled and the sort of mark they left behind. Have a look at this.
With the longships, the Vikings were able to cover vast distances quickly, mastering both open seas and shallow rivers. They sailed to Britain and France, to America, through the rivers of Russia and Ukraine to Istanbul, and even to distant Egypt. Elements of the impressive longships were adopted wherever the Vikings sailed. You can still see the influences today in Portugal's Rabeio boats and the gondolas of Venice.
And Geir, I mean, that map says it all, how they got to all of those parts of the world in their longships. Well, you can tell us a moment about the longships, but they left their mark everywhere, even in our languages and just in English. I said at the very beginning of this, Happy Thor's Day, because a Thursday in English is named after. Friday is Freya's Day. Wednesday is the day named after Woden or Odin. Tuesday is Tyr's Day, Tyr being the Norse god, I am told, of single combat, law and justice. It just shows, Geir, how the Vikings, even in those old boats, those old-fashioned boats, I mean, all of those centuries ago, left their mark and are recognizable even today.
Yes, you can see, especially they was very well known for the ships because they was easily built, so they was much more faster than many other ships at the same time. But when a ship is easily built, it can also be a little bit weak, so the chance for to capsize is also fully possible. So the saga tells about a lot of capsize, and sometimes just 10% of the boats come back. So it was also danger, but the ship was really fast to maneuver, especially in a battle, and it was it was go to swallow sea and could go near into the land. And so it was fast to go to attack, and it was also fast to go away, to escape again. So this ship was brilliant for the Vikings, and it was people, as all other countries, was afraid for the Viking. When the Viking ships come, they say now we are in trouble. So Viking ships.
I am now talking to the ultimate modern Viking, as it were, and this is what started your whole fascination with ships and the way they built longboats and the way they were able to explore vast amounts of ocean on their longboats. It all started in childhood with you, but you weren't brought up actually on the coast, were you?
No, I grew up inside in Oslo, yes.
So when did your fascination with ships and seafaring longboats begin? How did that start?
It started when I so long as I can remember, I was very fascinated of the sea, very fascinated of the boats, of the shape. So when I go to Oslo with my mother for to shop, I always beg, please, can we go and look at the boats, look at the ships, maybe the legendary American boats, and see the shipyards. So it was there all the time. So soon we was in holiday, I said, can we go to the harbor? All the time. So, but it starts when I read a book who called The Sharks by a famous Norwegian author. We called.
Well, now what is special about that book, The Sharks? Why did it appeal to you?
There was the captain. He sailed the ship alone in the night, and the ship and the captain became to be one unit. So he feel that he have near the same soul, So this experience, I think I must have this experience also. So I get it in a way, maybe not so strong as it was written in the book, but I sail sometimes alone, even when I sail to Portugal. I have some really good experience alone in the night in 5-6 meter high waves and 20 meters wind, 20 meters per second wind. So I have some experience with it, but so it was a start for I must go to sea.
Now, to many people watching, that would be terrifying, the idea of you being alone in a boat. But to you, it was about the relationship, almost a mystical relationship, perhaps, between the captain of a boat and his vessel.
Yes, that's true. So and of course, also to me, to practice boat building is also a lot.
Well, that's it, because you fell in love with boats so much that you left school quite early and you went to boat building school instead.
Yes. I start first 1 year with furniture making, and so I go to north in Norway and learn boat building, as you see at the picture.
Now you see, I love that photograph. I don't know if you can see it, but that, you know, you could name that the boat building.
I'm in the end of the photo.
The school of 1977 or something. You all
Yes.
you look very funny there, but you're learning the very basics of really good, solid boat building, and it stayed with you forever, didn't it?
Yes, and you can see at that time, the teacher, they don't only learn you to practice boat building, but you must have a moral when you should do this. You must be loyal to your customer. As the teacher say, you shall stay behind the boat and say, I have done this work, and you shall be proud of it. And if you can do this, don't deliver the boat, my teacher say. So it was really good to learn from the old.
But however, for some reason, from some of the photographs you sent me of one of your boats sinking. What's that about?
Yes, it's when I was 16 years old, I got this also 54 feet long, old traditional vessel, and it was rotten. It was taken out of business for many years ago. So I fight 1 year to keep this boat floating. And in the end, when all my money have gone, even I must borrow money from my mother, I must give up. But it gave me inspiration that I must be able to fix this boat, but then I must be educated as a boat builder. So it's given me...
It's like a first car, isn't it? Sometimes those failures teach you a lot, don't they?
Yes. So you must meet some resistance for to go, and this was one of my resistance I meet. So
with all your knowledge of boat building and your fascination for history and Viking history, tell me about longboats. Because we are learning more and more as you excavate, and I know you've been part of some of those fascinating excavations. What do we know about the way the Vikings built their longboats, and what sort of excavations have you been part of?
Yes, you see, also my job with Viking ship have been to reconstruct ships who already have been excavated.
Yeah.
But there is, and then especially the Oseberg ship, who is the most famous Viking ship and the most well done. They have the amazing carving on the stem and stern, and this worm head, and it's the jewel of the Viking ships. So I worked with this ship from 2001 and the RISA project, where we have a pre-project where we find out, especially for the shape of the ship, who was, because there was some before us who have made a copy of the Oseberg ship. But this ship, when they tried to sail it, it became an accident. So when the ship come up in 10 degrees heeling angle and 10 degrees speed, the bowsy come into the ship and it sank. It's take just 20 seconds and the ship was away. So
20 seconds.
Yes, so it's happened in 87.
Some of these ancient longboats have been sank by accident and have been found, but others were buried. There were proper burials, weren't there?
Yes. So yes, but you must see it's different type of ships. As a longboat, as they describe in the saga, that the longboats don't go to Icelandic. They was not made or prepared for to go in the Atlantic. That was warship. They used over the North Sea to England, go south in Europe, but they don't go to Icelandic or America. But you have other type of Viking ship who was more heavy built, more strong.
Obviously, yeah, for much further distances.
Yes.
So, tell me about some of the excavations that you've been concerned with. Then, I mean, there's one very famous one, isn't there, of a particular. I'm not going to say it correctly. Oseberg ship.
Yes, it's good enough. Oseberg.
Oh, sorry, Osterberg. Osterberg.
Oseberg. Yes.
Tell me about that ship.
Yes, you can see this ship was the original ship was built in year 820. So that's the first and oldest ship we have found with sail. So it was an early ship, and it was not a cargo ship. It's have up to 30 oars, 15 oars on each side. So it was a ship for crew and maybe for to go to war or to go or protect an important person.
Where was it found?
Once more?
Where was it found?
It was found in Tønsberg, in my town.
Oh,
so,
really?
So yes. So after, and you can see, if you see behind me, you can see a model of the ship, and you can see the mound where it was excavated. So, but it was found back in 1904. They excavate the ship, and it was.
Sorry, Geir. Was it proper? Was it buried as a
yes,
tribute? Was it?
It was on this.
So it's always been under that mound. Was there anything else? What sort of things were with it?
That's the amazing thing with this ship. First of all, it's the richest grave we ever have found from the Viking Age, and they sacrificed 15 horses in this grave, and 4 dogs, 2 cows, and they have everything they need in the daily life. All they need of furniture, tools, all they need to do all farming, and they do so. But they think, but there was no gold, no silver, no metal. No. So because in year 952, someone robbed the grave. So this burial was in 934. But when they excavate this ship in 1904, they think here it must be a big chieftain who gave this rich grave. But it was 2 persons, but when they do research on this the skeleton, they found out there was 2 women. So it also proved that women could be really valuable.
Just as important, just as important as the men.
So I do a little research and try to find out what this Oseberg means, as the name Oseberg. So Os, it's come from As, and that's the same as God. So this here was the God's mound, this place where it was found. So they think that this woman have some, maybe some volve, maybe she was some religion leader, but she have a really high position in the Viking society.
Oh my goodness.
This Oseberg ship.
How exciting to be part of that. We have Viking's own video of this. Let's have a little look now, because it shows us some wonderful pictures of this ship on display in the museum, and then how you managed to replicate it. You can talk us through that a bit later. Let's have a look at this video right now.
The world's fascination with the Viking longships has never waned. They've been studied endlessly at locations throughout Scandinavia and the rest of the world. Most famous is the Oseberg, on display at Oslo's Viking Ship Museum. A vessel so treasured, the new Oseberg Ship Foundation spent years building an exact replica to breathe new life into this ancient form. In 2012, this legendary ship was reborn. Known as Saga Oseberg, every inch, curve and angle of the original was faithfully reproduced. Today she's a window into the Viking Age and the technology that literally reshaped the world. The iconic Viking longships remain one of the most recognized and admired ship designs ever created. A vivid symbol of exploration and discovery.
Oh, isn't that the most fantastic scene you've ever seen? Geir, can I ask you, first of all, when we saw the ship there in the museum, is that the real thing? Are those carvings the real thing? And if so, why are they so well preserved?
Yes, that's one of the really amazing things with the original Oseberg ship. When they excavate it, they find about 95% of the original ship was intact. So we have never found a more complete Viking ship than the Oseberg ship, and we will never find a more complete ship than the Oseberg ship. But it was preserved in clay, so it was near no air come to it. It was like stay in a box, and so it's hold for more than 1,100 years.
Yeah, the carvings are exquisite.
Yes,
so you now in the final part of that sequence, we saw that you had replicated the ship.
Yes.
And you were sailing it, perfectly replicated. I mean, what an extraordinary task, and what fun! It's taken about 10 years out of your life, hasn't it, to do that?
Yes, it's have taken more than 10 years, but as the job, before we start to build it, it's take 9 years, and then most of my job then was as volunteer, as we say, double day, no pay. That was the rules to make this ship, and so first this pre-project to reconstruct it was really interesting learning for me also about how it was built, how the shape was, what we could change so we could give a better seaworthy ship than they have proved before. And so also when we build it, we learn a lot of which tools they use, which type of material, where in the trunks they take different parts. So all this challenge they did have in the Viking Age, we do again. It
must have given you, as a boat builder, it must have given you a whole new respect for those ancient Vikings, because they managed to do it really well too, didn't they?
Yes, and you have you get a really big respect for the Viking Age craftsmen, because they have very, in a way, they have axe, they have some type of planners, but they can do, you can, as you say by yourself, that this carving is amazing. They can do the best quality of work with really simple and few tools. I think you don't need more tools than you can carry under one arm, and you can make this ship. It's amazing.
Yeah, but it does take a long time out of your life.
I think they do it maybe faster than we did.
Maybe they did, because it was a skill that they passed down from family to family. But as I say, it took a long time out of your life. It did, however, end with a lovely visit, I think, from the Crown Prince and Princess of Norway. They came along and had a look.
Yes, this is another exhibition at this museum where I stay now. And that's the story here. There we have the crown prince and princess, and I have prepared a little job for the crown prince here. So he helped me, as you see there. He helped me to split a trunk with wedges, and these trunks give the last board on the Kloster ship.
Oh, excellent.
So he didn't know that he should become a boat builder, a Viking ship builder, the Crown Prince, but I have prepared it for him.
It's a lovely touch. I'm sure he is very proud, actually.
Yes,
and then on top of that, I think you're married on it, or there was a special wedding tour you did on it.
Yes, and it was special in really many ways, because there was the first trip ever for the ship with rudder, because I worked on the ship half night before the wedding party to prepare it so it could go to this wedding trip on her wedding day. So it was amazing, this wedding party with the ship and everything, and of course as me as father to bring her on in a way, not my ship but also a little bit of my ship. I was really proud, and I can be really deep feeling.
Well, by the look of it, I've got a lovely picture of you with your family from a slightly earlier day. I think your family have obviously always been involved. There, your children are in traditional dress, and now I think you have a grandson as well.
Yes, you can see they. Yes.
Oh, look! What a lovely photograph.
Yes, I have two grandchildren, two grandsons. So, but I find just picture of one. But yes, I have a very good relation to my family, to even my ex-wife, as I call my lovely ex-wife. So they have supported me all the time, but they are not so much involved in the Viking life. But it's been a part of our family for near 20 years.
Now, look, I gather you are one of there aren't many people in the world who can run the oars. And we have a little sequence here. And I gather this is how a captain of a longship could get from one end to the other of the ship quickly if he had to. Not running through the ship, but running along the oars. How difficult is and now? Oh, look, there you are actually doing it. That looks very risky, very dangerous.
Yeah, in a way, you can see, but also for me, I like to do sport. I like to go skiing, I go snowboard, I do horseback riding. So, but to run on the oars, I have done maybe 1,000 times in my head. So when I worked with a man who was training for the Norwegian sailing team, and he learned me, you must train in your head first. Just do it automatically and you will fix it.
Did you ever fall in? Did you ever fall in, Geir? You can tell me.
Yeah, I have never fall to sea, but really many other men, they want me to see me go to sea. So the challenge here is about they are strong enough to hold the oars up. So I not fell to sea, but sometimes I say, oh, sorry, Geir. But I jump to next oar, so they don't hit me.
Yeah. Hopefully there's always another oar you can, mind you, they must get slippery, those oars, don't they?
Yeah, no, yes, they have slipped oars, yes, they have, but they was not quick enough. I was quicker to jump to next oar all the time.
Now, because you are now sort of the ultimate Viking, a lot of movie companies come to you if they're looking for somebody to be a Viking. And of course, there have been a lot of Viking movies and Viking TV series made actually quite recently. You've appeared in several, haven't you?
Yes, I have been to some of them, even as a BBC, Discovery, the Norwegian Norseman, and I have make craft to the HBO series, this Be Forager. So I've been involved in, but not the main actor. I have.
No, but you're there. You're there with your axe often, I think. We've got a little clip from Norseman, which I think is showing on Netflix at the moment. Showing your Geir the Viking bit.
Yes.
Jarl Varg deserves to die in the most gruesome manner for what he did to my family. And so it is extremely important that everyone keep their mouth shut about our plan. No bragging about us assembling an army to overthrow Jarl Varg and things like that. I can't stress enough how important it is that Jarl Varg does not get wind of this. Okay?
Okay. You can definitely rely on me. I won't say a word to Jarl Varg.
Good.
In exchange for a handsome reward, for my name isn't Vidkun the Treacherous.
That name doesn't exactly inspire confidence.
What? Vidkun?
Oh, the other name, your last name, the Treacherous?
Okay. I actually thought you were a leader that judged people based on their merits, not their names, but maybe I was mistaken.
No, of course not, but I mean, it's a special name. I mean, it's special to be called the Treacherous.
Sure, but most likely I got that name because I'm so incredibly trustworthy.
And so the scene goes on. There you were in the background, Geir, looking very Viking, I have to say. What are you up to nowadays? I mean, I know you've been very, very busy recreating and replicating and looking into the history. Do you believe now that it's very important to sort of pass on this knowledge and this history to the next generation?
Yes, it's very important. So my main project at the time now is to build a boat for rivers and this type of boat was using for floating timber and also catch salmon, and it also was the way to transport everything before cars come to our world. So now I shall the next year I shall maybe build about 10 of these small river boats.
Oh my goodness!
And I shall also do it in the school with pure. And I will also make a seminar for people who want to build this boat by themselves. So I will make all pattern, also do it easily for other people to build this boat. But what is special with this project is that this clinker built tradition, it's more than 2,000 years old.
Is there? Yes. Is there a way you can easily describe what is clinker building?
You can see also the boards overlap each other.
Yeah.
And it's puts, and in the beginning when they do this they use rope from skin. They could use as a linden bast. So they say that they saw it. So even now they call this, they don't call it nails, but they call it saum. Also it's when you saw it as you can do with rope. So this clinker build tradition is 2,000 years old. It's very similar what we do today, what they do nearly 2,000 years ago.
It's certainly stood the test of time, hasn't it? And I have a lovely photograph. And I gather, did you used to breed these horses? Absolutely beautiful horse that we see you on. Tell me about this beautiful horse.
Yes, that's a typical Norwegian horse called fjording. And but at this picture, Universal Studio should come to Midgard, and they give me the job to say welcome to them. And they say, you must going out from the woods. I say, no. The chieftain, he ride by horse. So they was very afraid that because they don't know that I could even ride. So I can even jump with a horse. So, and that I think my next goal is to do more with the horses, because horses was was a holy animal in the Viking Age. As I tell you, they sacrificed 15 horses in the Oseberg burial. Yeah. And they even sacrificed horses to please the god. And it was especially the stallone was also the symbol for fertility.
Yeah, so it was obviously a very high value animal, wasn't it?
Very high.
I have some lovely questions for you from people who are watching from all over the world at the moment. Forrest Redding in Ridge Manor in Florida says, do you have a favorite historic Viking?
Oh, this was my favorite. I think it must be. I think it must be. The Holy Olav. I think it was my favorite. Yes.
Why? What was so special about him?
Because he was one of the who go abroad. He make contacts with other, even England, and he was very well educated. And he was a brave man. He go to many battles, and he have his axe called Hel. It was not the same hell as we talk about today, but there is stories about the Holy Olav and especially his son, who heritage his axe, who chopped down maybe 2,000 people in the battles. So this with this axe. So Holy Olav, he
was formidable.
Yes, he's a sort of symbol to have this axe. So
okay, here's another question from Rachel Hall in Edinburgh. Hi, Rachel. She says, there is a model of the longship on board Viking Sky. Did you build it?
Yes, I built in the Viking. No, not in the Viking. I have built one model of the Oseberg ship in Viking Star, and it's two models in Viking Sun I have built. So it's so I'm sure it's Viking Sun. There stay two models and one in Viking Star.
Yeah, well, she's a very lucky lady to have been on it and seen for herself. A lot of people are calling in and saying, you look as though you're a very big, tall man. Would Vikings have been so big and tall as you?
No, the middle size was not so tall as me, but there is described tall Vikings. There is. So I think I will be today. I'm just 190 centimeter high, but in Viking age they will be a really tall man.
Yes, right. So they would have been sort of a little shorter than you.
Little bit shorter.
Yeah. I've lost my questions now, but a lot of people wanting to know about why you're so interested in Vikings now. And do you think there is a lot of interest in what you have to say now? Do you get people coming to listen to you and talk about Vikings?
Yes, I have held maybe near to 400 different presentations. about Viking Age, also shipbuilding, craft, daily life, woman's right, marriage, the Christmas ritual. So you see, I'm just educated as a craftsman, as a boat builder, but when I work in this environment for 20 years, I have learned a lot.
Yes.
And also since
well, I've got two more questions now,
Yes.
because you just mentioned Christmas ritual, which I'm interested in, but also a lot of people will want to know about what we see on Hollywood movies, which is the idea of a Viking burial, which was where they would put somebody on a boat, send it out into the sea, and then set fire to it, probably shoot burning arrows. Did that actually happen? Do you know? Do we know?
No, I have never read about this special happening in the saga, because this burial was. I think there is a little bit mixed between this story about the ferryman who come and bring you to the other side. So, but in the Viking Age, they buried them as they had the burial on land, and they, if you was a rich man, you get a ship. Rich woman, important women, you get a ship. But it also was often that they burned this grave. And but lucky for us, they don't burn the Oseberg ship, don't burn the Gokstad ship.
No.
They don't
Lucky
burn.
for us, because we
Very
can
lucky
find
for
out
us.
more. And what are the Christmas rituals which you just mentioned?
The Christmas ritual, yes, it was also to Christmas. All die people come to your home, so you don't sleep in your bed and the Christmas Eve, because then your old dead relatives come and took your bed.
Oh.
Yes, and also, and this, and in Norway, we have not the christening name for Christmas. We have keep the old pagan name, Jul.
Yule.
Julia, and Jul was one of the name for Odin. So we say, yes, so you drink Jul, and you drink, you make a lot of beer to Christmas. Yes. And of course, and that was a part of to come in contact with the gods.
Is that what you do?
No, yes, they used to do this. So most of us have an experience that if you drink enough, you became a little bit more than the gods. So they do this also.
Yes, if you drink enough, you get to see all your old relatives and the gods and everything.
Yes, everything. And so it's yes, and also they take this tradition to put out this. Also for to give food to the horses, because it was Odin's horses.
Yes.
Also
you look after.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you look after the horses. Yes, you do.
Yes. And there was also this.
You have given us a window into a world that I knew nothing about, frankly, except, as I said earlier, particularly coming from England, there are lots of words and phrases that are so familiar when you mention them in the Viking context, and having seen the way the Vikings did travel really very far, almost all over the world, it's not surprising, is it? They've left a truly remarkable legacy that you have kept alive. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've found that absolutely fascinating, and it's been wonderful to meet what I consider to be a true life Viking in 2020. Thank you so much for joining me, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very, very much indeed. And all I can say is goodbye from everybody all over the world. I've just lost a lot of my questions from people watching all over the world. There were so many questions, and for some reason my page has expired, which is very annoying. But people will get the chance to ask you more questions, I'm sure, again, if join us here on Viking TV. So Geir, for the moment, thank you very, very much, and a very big goodbye. Thank you. Can I just tell you that my guests next week are interesting too. Caroline and George Loseley-Williams. Now, Caroline and George live at Chavanage, which is a really pretty, gorgeous Elizabethan house on the edge of the Cotswolds here in the Midlands of Britain. Our US viewers will recognise it, everybody will, from the scenes in Poldark, which, by the way, in the US is sponsored by Viking on PBS. Now, Chavanage, the house, the estate, was at the centre of history briefly during the Civil War here in England when Oliver Cromwell stayed there. Otherwise, it's remained out of the limelight for many, many centuries until it was sort of rediscovered as a film location for all those wonderful period dramas that you may have seen. The Loseley-Williams family have lived there for 3 generations, and for them it is a home that they're happy to share with visitors, the occasional film crew, and of course now with Viking.TV viewers. They have so many stories to tell, and they have a really fun way of telling those stories too. So do join me next week, next Thursday, for a glimpse into a unique British location. From me, Anne Diamond, here in what is rapidly becoming a bit of a rainy British evening. Thank you very, very much for joining me. Stay tuned to everything on Viking Television, because it's a way that we can all keep together until one day we will be able to cruise again. For the moment, bye-bye.